We in paradise. It's a beautiful day. It's cat down the road. It's like you should probably leave. But I'ma stay. Yo, check out my homeboys. They said, hey man, throw a party today, you know what I'm saying? So I was like, alright. Crucial information for y'all today. So I'll be talking about pretty much the science of thoughts, waves, frequency, and this double slit experiment. Okay, so boom. Atoms. You got protons, neutrons, and electrons. The protons and the neutrons are what pretty much make up the weight of that atom, and then the electrons float on the outer shell and they're very light, and the electrons are really what dictate the nature and the properties of that atom. The electrons and the protons have the same number, but the electrons are pretty much what make them different. So electrons, they're on this outer shell spinning at 6 billion revolutions per second. 6 billion revolutions per second. Not per minute, not per hour, not per month, per motherfucking second. That's fast as hell. I can't even fathom how fast that is. So these electrons are moving so fast that in all these atoms, that's what makes things seem physical and solid to the touch, but they're actually just spinning and vibrating. And so when these electrons come into a contact with each other, why don't they collide? Well, actually, here's what happens. When they come into contact with each other, displacement happens. And they bump into each other, kind of rub off of each other and create some friction, and a disturbance is created. And this disturbance from this displacement, if you can see, is how you get waves. So when they bounce off of each other, each one of these would be a wave. Each one of those lines would be a wave, and the distance between them would be the frequency. So how fast those waves are moving or how slow they're moving is the frequency. So you got electron displacement that creates waves, and then the frequency is the speed of those waves. And this is important because your whole body runs off electrons and electrical signals. There's actually 4.2 times 10 raised to the 26th power amount of electrons in your brain alone. So this is why two people that are in tune with each other and rapport can pick up on each other's thoughts, because if you see the spectrum of frequency, you got, can't see, you got you got physical matter over here, and then you got thoughts over here, and damn, and damn, yeah. So thoughts are extremely light, and higher frequencies can penetrate the lower frequencies. So when you and your friend are sitting down at y'all houses far away from each other, and you're like, damn, I wonder what so-and-so is doing. Boom, phone call. It's like those electrical signals and those electrons are penetrating through that person's physical flesh and going into their brain, and like, boom, so-and-so was thinking about me. And y'all are around each other so much that y'all are pretty much on the same frequency all the time. And this happened to me the other day. Actually, I was at work, and two of my coworkers were arguing. They was talking shit about each other, and they was talking about how they smelled. And out of nowhere, I was just thinking like, oh, this nigga smell like KY. And then my coworker walked by. He was like, oh, dog, you smell like KY. And I was like, what the hell? Really? That's some crazy shit. Shit is real. So, so when you're shifting your thoughts, you're shifting how these electrons are moving. And more science on the electron. They did this double slit experiment. And what they did was they fired physical matter through some slits. They did it one slit and then two slits. And the physical matter they used was marbles. And then they tested out waves, and they used a little water wave, and they sent it through one slit and two slits. And when they and then they had a wall to to measure what happened when they went through the slits. So when they sent the marbles through one band, they formed one slit, they formed one band on the wall. And when they sent them through two slits, they formed two bands on the wall. And when they did it with the water wave, the wave went through, hit the wall, and then when they sent it through two slits, the two waves would crash into each other after they went through the slits, and they would form like multiple waves, and the points where they intersected was the highest amount of energy. And so when they sent the two waves, the waves through two slits, they got an interference pattern. So when they tested out electrons through the slits, one slit, they got one band. Okay, electrons are a small piece of physical matter, they should form one band. They sent them through two slits, they got an interference pattern. So they're like, what the fuck? That shouldn't happen. That's some phony shit, electron. So they redid the experiment. They sent them through two slits again, but this time they sent them through one at a time. Through two slits. Same results. They got an interference pattern. So they're like, what? That's some phony shit, electron, goddamn. So they did it again. They went up closer, and they put a measuring device right by the slits as the electrons were going through. And catch this, even crazier. When they sent the electrons through and were watching it, they formed two bands and performed like physical matter. So these scientists are like, what the hell? That's some even phonier shit, electron. So the only conclusion they could come to was that these electrons were performing and behaving as if they were conscious and aware that they were being perceived. And that these electrons changed their behavior based on human observation. That's some crazy shit. Let that sink in. That's literally like bringing that spiritual into that physical. Like you can't explain that. Like there has to be something controlling that, and that it has to be conscious. Like consciousness is everywhere. So, just something to think about. You know what I'm saying? Love y'all. Peace out.